It is time for those of you in the Muslim world to stop fighting among yourselves, you Shiites and Sunnis, and also time to stop regarding the Christians, and even more specifically, the Jews, as your enemies.
Jordan Peterson is a phenomenon. Perhaps no other public intellectual has had the measure of influence and privilege of being seen in a positive light by many worldwide within the last 5 years as he has. He shot from being a little-known psychology professor at a Canadian university to an internet sensation overnight and has continued to grow in influence. Loved by many on the right and equally despised by many on the left, his appeal has traveled as far as the continent of Africa. When he first appeared on the scene following his viral exchange with Kathy Newman in 2018, he seemed like the much-needed voice of reason, common sense, calm and balance, someone who might soon graduate into a wise grandfather figure, steadily steering the chaotic cultural sea of Western civilization.
You're just saying these things, though, to provoke, aren't you? I mean, you are a provocateur.
I never said
You're like
anything.
the alt-right that you hate to be compared to.
However, lately, he's become, in my opinion, too possessed by a desire to combat what he calls the authoritarian left or postmodernist neo-Marxist, at the expense of moderation and caution. This shift, typified by his recent Twitter exchanges, which have been getting more erratic if not inflammatory, led to his ultimate but unfortunate suspension from Twitter. Peterson has clearly made some missteps along the way. After all, he's only human, including his comments on the beauty or not of a plus-size model on the cover of Sports Illustrated magazine, for which he got a lot of backlash. But his greatest misstep yet is his recent video entitled Message to Muslims. Now, there are a lot of problems with that video, but my initial impression of that video, as well as the one he sent to Christians, was that is Peterson trying to amass an army of the religious against the authoritarian left?
And you are all threatened, in a very real sense, by the system of vengeful Luciferian ideas that currently confronts all that is transcendent, traditional, and valuable.
It struck me as odd that Peterson, who isn't Christian, Muslim, Jewish, or even religious, would want to champion an alliance between these faiths. Peterson seemed to be making the mistaken assumption that just because he has followers who are Muslim or Christian, or of any religion for that matter, that they must care about the issues that are most important to Peterson, or that they care to the same extent as he does.
I have been informed by many sources, and also observed online, not least because of my discussions with a variety of Muslim thinkers, supporters, and critics, that I have developed an audience in the Muslim world.
The video, which I believe to be a genuine attempt to bridge a divide Peterson senses between the various faiths, although I'm yet to see why he felt a need for such bridging or why he thought such a call would be effective in the first place, has largely been criticized for being uncritical and ignorant. He mistakenly assumes that fighting the radical authoritarian left matters enough to the religious people of all faiths to make them set aside their fundamental religious differences to forge a united front against the insanity of the authoritarian left. This approach reveals a naivety that betrays the Peterson brand of being an expert on whatever the hell he talks about. The video revealed an ignorance not only of the religion he's trying to appeal to, but of religion and human nature in general. For example, as a Christian, there are certain Christian churches I cannot worship in on the grounds of doctrinal differences or practices, even though they are a Christian church. For the fact that that church may share my position as it regards dealing with the left does not mean that those doctrinal differences suddenly disappear or become irrelevant, or that I would worship in those churches for the sake of fighting the left. Perhaps those differences are more important to me as a Christian than the differences with the left. Differences that Peterson referred to as trinkets and details.
So, how about we all quit squabbling over trinkets and details and face the real problem?
Many religious people would find it rather insulting to suggest that the basis of their faith, which makes it distinct from other faiths, is nothing but trinkets and details. and that we can all have one big party when we set aside those inconsequential differences and focus on the most important thing, which is Peterson's war with the left. His claim that far more unites people of faith than divides them has pitiful ignorance smeared over it.
Second, far more unites you with the other people of the book, as your own prophet himself, peace be unto him, forthrightly said, than what divides you. You all believe, for example, in a book. You all believe, for example, in God, and believe that you have an ultimate duty to that God.
Believing in a God is no more a unifying theme than believing in the existence of the sun. Even the demons believe in God and tremble, the Bible says. Should Christians align with demons on the account of that shared belief? Peterson came across as a self-congratulatory general, arousing an army of the religious that he has no command or legitimacy over in the first place.
Because perhaps it is time for those who purport to be followers of God to act like it.
That is why his message, though well-intentioned, is having the opposite effect. The current quagmire of Peterson is best explained by Dr. Thomas Sowell in his book, Intellectuals and Society, where he writes, and I quote, "The fatal misstep of intellectuals is assuming that superior ability within a particular realm can be generalized to superior wisdom on morality overall." This quote captures Peterson and this video succinctly. As much as I admire the man, I've always found him to be his weakest in his commentary on religion. Finally, Peterson's message came across as condescending, preachy, arrogant, presumptuous, and ill-informed. Religious people will not easily set aside their fundamental religious differences and unite for a cause that they might agree with but is not the most important to them. It speaks as though it is not evident to Muslims to be friends with the Jews and Christians, if that's what their religion teaches. But if that's not what their religion teaches, I doubt his call would have any effect. His flattery fell short, and his opening appeal to forgive his presumptuousness has not stemmed the tide of rightly deserved criticism, mostly from Muslims themselves. Peterson will do well to educate himself properly on any issue before he issues out anything as bold as a message to any group.